Thank you, dear. This really is what Christmas is all about, you know.
Merry Christmas.
Joe?
Badger's right. These farmers aren't going to quit until they catch me. Should we lie to your face? Should we fall off the right and start to see to these solutions? If I had all this to do over again, I'd have never...
Alex?
It was always more fun when we did it together anyway.
We need you to come back.
I love you, Felicity.
I'll be right there.
I love you too.
Hey. Hell. Ready to talk about Kess?
Yeah, let's talk about Kess.
Okay. Kess is the story of a young boy living in rural England. His older brother hates him, adults are dicks to him, and his life just kind of sucks in general. He finds new joy in life with the introduction of Kess, a falcon he trains and loves. And then it gets killed.
I'm glad I finally saw this movie, and I can add this to my list of depressing animal movies.
It's not that depressing.
Literally, the kid buries his beloved pet bird, and then the credits roll, Alex.
Well, yeah, but it's more than just about birds dying.
It's a beautifully shot movie about a bird dying.
Yeah, can we talk about that? Cinematography. This cinematography is interesting because the DP that they got to shoot this, he actually, his background was working in documentaries. They picked him because he was great at being able to just capture life. Just like sit back and then let everything kind of unfold. If you notice in the film, there aren't really many or any like real tight close-ups. They're not like exploiting actors. They're just letting them be, and then capturing whatever they put out. And it's also interesting too because these aren't professional actors. It's everyone just that's pulled from the town that they shot it in, which is Barnsley, England. Yeah,
the film, the way it was shot, reminded me a lot of Terrence Malick's earlier films, like Days of Heaven and Badlands. He used a lot more grounded shots. He captures natural beauty really well because almost the entire movie is shot in golden hour. Almost the entire movie is shot in the fields of grass and stuff. Whereas in Kess, it's in this small country town. Again, lots of shots of a field, or fields of grass and just kind of the countryside in general. They just kind of shot it on location with what lighting they had. But it doesn't look cheap. It feels very nostalgic in a way. It's also interesting what you were saying about the actors of the movie all being just kind of people that they had at their disposal. Because I couldn't understand half the dialogue in this movie.
Casper the Cadger, that's what they ought to call thee.
I'm good out if I had McDowell.
I'll get it something in a minute.
Hey up, old hand, how are you going? Rough, man, rough. Well, I'll be on top of the world a day like today. Another 10 minutes, I'll be at bottom on it.
I just like to come home, get me meal, get a bath, changing out me. Not a care it well.
It's pretty rough, yeah. It's kind of, I mean, if you're not already familiar with it, it's definitely hard to understand.
So this is a movie in a long line of films where little kids love animals and animals die. In the line of Old Yeller, Where the Red Fern Grows, Marley and Me, Air Bud. So, tell me, Alex, why do we love seeing animals die?
It's a very morbid question. I don't think we like to see animals die. It's very sad when animals die. I mean, like other movies you mentioned. I mean, obviously, just Kess, Marley, and Me. I've read Where the Red Fern Grows. I haven't seen the movie adaptation of it.
But you know what happens.
Yeah, I know what happens.
The dogs f***ing die.
It's because I think it's something that everyone can, I mean, maybe not fully relate to. And like, I don't know if everyone's had like some really beloved animal die in some like terrible way, but like everyone can relate to having like loving an animal and then having it probably die.
At the end of the movie, also, they use a real dead bird.
Yeah. At the end, like in the credits, they don't have that like typical no animals were harmed in the making of this feature film, and so. Yeah.
Because it's very obviously a real dead bird, though.
Oh yeah, it's not any like dummy or anything like that. It's really a dead bird that the kid's holding in his hand and crying over. But it's not the birds that they were in the movie. It's some other kestrel that they found that was already died of like natural causes. But the thing is, when they were shooting it, they told the kid, Billy, that they were gonna kill his. They had to kill this bird because they had needed a dead bird for the end of the movie. And so they led him to believe that they had killed his bird, and he was literally holding his dead bird that he had trained all by himself prior to actually doing the movie in the pre-production.
This is also my second favorite movie where they kill an animal in the movie. My first favorite is the old version of King Solomon's Mines, where in the opening shot of the movie, they shoot an elephant on screen.
What? What movie is this? They really shoot an elephant?
So anyway, the message of the movie, Alex.
Well, there's also something that in the film, and another something that I think the director or producer was talking about. But in the film, there's the line.
Well, if somebody comes up to me and says, "Is it tame? Is it tame?" Oaks, I can't be tamed. Demand. It's wild and it's fierce and it's not bothered about anybody. Not bothered about me, right? That's what makes it great.
Has Billy been able to tame the kestrel? And he's director or producer is always saying, you know, you can't tame a kestrel, but you can train him. Billy Casper is never going to be tamed. He's going to be himself the rest of his life, but he can be trained to just kind of go along with everything and not be such like a little almost kind of brat and kid he is.
So Billy is Kess. That's deep.
Essentially, yeah. Essentially, that's.
So yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. Mm-hmm. It's very much a product of its time and the people who made it. You can tell a lot of love was put into it. I love this movie because you can tell that whoever made the story really cared about the story. Mm-hmm. It almost feels handmade. It's almost as if you're like looking at a piece of art. You can tell that this person wasn't just making it because they want to push out as much art as they can and make a buck off of it. Mm-hmm. They really put a lot of time and energy into it and molded it and crafted it really well. Mm-hmm. They used, like you said, actors who weren't really actors, just people they had. Mm-hmm. And they put a lot of time into making sure that the dialogue was authentic, mm-hmm. and that they captured the surrounding area really well and authentically. Mm-hmm. And I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, like I really like that. Like you said, the movie is just kind of like a slice of life, and I like that it doesn't really have a whole lot of like plot to it. But even without like a real strong sense of plot, it keeps you interested the entire way through. Mm-hmm. I think it's still kind of one of my favorite movies, just because of the story that's told, because of the way it's shot. I just kind of like really pretty much all the movie, like every part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's in the details.
Yeah, little things.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, thanks for joining us again. Next week we'll review Shame.